Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're here again today to cover another topic on the Smart Skills for Success series. And today we're talking about brainstorm ideas. So this is the definition, brainstorming. And I think this is probably a thinking concept that many people are already familiar with. So I'm just going to dive in a little bit more deeply. So it's the unrestrained generation of ideas or a wide range of options prior to analysis or decision making. So this strategy is the first of our 4 creative thinking strategies. And it's one of the simplest but most commonly used strategies in creative thinking. And often when people say we need to think outside the box, I think what they're really referring to is brainstorming. It's not the only creative strategy that we have, but it's one of them. So it's the first one here. So if you have your 40i out in front of you, please, you can look at your scores here in green. So brainstorm is a cool green strategy. So meaning it's creative thinking that we're doing with the left side of our brain. So a little bit more of an analytical, logical, surprisingly, we can be creative in that way. So it's a part of a process. So you can see from this 40i that this person has a score of 16 in Brainstorm. So a low score, I would say, would be something less than 20. An average score is, 40 to 60. And a high score would be anything over 80. So it's the first in our 4 brainstorm, challenge, reframe, and envision. And they all work together, and I will be doing videos on the others as well. But for now, we're just talking about brainstorm. So you can see this person's score is, I'd say, a little bit low. So that means they don't really love brainstorming. You can see also that this person has a higher score in envision, flow, and flash of insight. So those are also creative strategies that are quite different. So in terms of being creative, all of these can work together. And the more you can use all of them, the more successful you will be. So if you have a very low preference, it means you prefer not to engage in brainstorming activities. So when I've been doing 40i debriefs with people and they have a low score, they say, I hate brainstorming. Please don't make me brainstorm. Just tell me what to do. Let me make a list. But coming up with ideas from scratch in amongst a crazy, chaotic room full of people is not fun for me. I don't enjoy doing it. An average preference would mean you're able to engage meaningfully when you're asked. Somebody else say, oh, we need to come up with some ideas. Let's brainstorm together. And you would enjoy it and welcome it and be able to contribute. High preference means you really love brainstorming. So you relish the opportunities to, sort of abandon all the other thinking that you might need to do, logical, analytical kinds of thinking, and just immerse yourself in this crazy brainstorming where you're just generating ideas from nothing. So it's very divergent thinking. So you're opening up possibilities here. You're searching for unexpected, remote connections and combinations. You're building on other people's ideas. Multiple creative ideas are shared. And ideally, everyone is involved and everyone is equal. So whether you have a high score or a low score in this, when it's time to brainstorm, that doesn't matter. What really matters is that in the moment you're able to immerse yourself and try to come up with as many ideas as you possibly can. Ideally, everybody's contributions would be valued. Everybody would be considered equal. So it doesn't matter if the boss says, here's a crazy, wacky idea, and everybody goes, that's great. What is important is that you're just randomly generating ideas where new ideas didn't exist before. And it's very spontaneous. So although you can schedule, let's have a brainstorming session today at 3, in the session when you're brainstorming, it feels spontaneous. So this is actually what it feels like. So, some ideas, if we have a challenge in the center and we're just like, let's come up with as many ways to tackle this problem as we can. Some ideas will be, bang on. They really suit the need. Some build on others. Some, aren't fully formed yet. Some are just like wacky off the top of your head. But that's really what it's all about. So you use it when you're at the very beginning of a process, usually when you're not sure how to proceed or your usual solutions are no longer working for you. So you need fresh ideas to give you new options and alternatives. You want to open up a range of alternatives or ideas, and you need an option that you haven't previously considered. So if people are coming up just generating random ideas, one person says something that makes somebody else think of something else, what we call springboard off of somebody else's idea, we build on the idea. You have a greater opportunity to come up with things that you've never thought of before. And many business successes have come about as a result of people just going crazy and doing completely divergent thinking. So if you have a low score and you would like to develop your skills in this, you can ask yourself. So a key question is, what if we tried this? What if we tried that? So it's sort of open-ended questions. It's all about the quantity of ideas, not the quality. So as the ideas are coming out, nobody is editing, nobody is judging, nobody's using body language like rolling their eyes or, drumming their fingers on the table. Come on, hurry up. We need to get this thing over with. Ideally, you would set aside an allotted amount of time, say 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, you would just purely brainstorm. So, and all ideas are valid. So if somebody's facilitating a brainstorming session, they should be writing down absolutely everything that is being said. There's no editing, there's no judging. You try to capture the idea exactly as it comes out of somebody's mouth. So I would suggest if you want to develop this, you start by practicing with something easy. So I've chosen a bobby pin here. Oh, my picture's covering it up, but this is a picture of a bobby pin, also known as a hair grip or a hairpin. And I did a little bit of research on this, and apparently they were originally created in the 1930s, I believe, for holding bob haircuts. So when women all of a sudden started having shorter hairstyles, the bobby pin was created. So if you start with something that's really easy, and let's just say we wanted to come up with 20 uses for a bobby pin. So just take any household object. It can be a paper clip, a brick, it can be anything. And just let your mind relax and come up with as many crazy ideas as you can. So just a few things, you could I've got a couple of bobby pins here. You can put them together. You can use it to hang things. You can make a chain for something. I think one of the most common alternate uses for a bobby pin other than holding hair is to open it up and use it as a pick for a lock. That works. I've gotten into many a bathroom when children have been stuck in the bathroom with a bobby pin. You can use the end of it for doing some very fine painting. I use it sometimes as a bookmark. Here I've got my pages marked with a bobby pin. So if you happen to have a few lying around, just play with it. Let yourself relax and think of some crazy uses for a bobby pin. That will help to develop the synapses in your brain that lead you to just generating ideas where there were no ideas there before. Another way to develop your skills would be to be amongst others high in brainstorming. So if you are in a brainstorming session and you're working with some people who, love it, you think, I'm just going to sit back and relax, it could be an opportunity to sort of watch how their minds are working and be inspired. And if you hear them say something, then you try to build on it. And know that there will be time to edit, evaluate, and decide on these ideas later on. This is part of a process. This is the first part of a process. We're going to give it 10 minutes, let's say, and then we can get to analyzing. Could it work? Do we have the budget? Have we tried it before? What are all the normal, casting aspersions on things that we do when people say crazy ideas? Leave time for that later. And also know that it will be messy. So people will be shouting, people will be saying things that maybe aren't helpful or aren't relevant. For those of us who are a little bit more logical or even a bit more introverted, who have a hard time being in confusion amongst other people, this is going to feel very uncomfortable. And I think this is why people really don't like brainstorming. But you come up with new ideas when you just give yourself over to it for a few minutes. So complementary thinking in our system is, again, yep, this is the first stage in a problem-solving process. Red decision-making thinking will come later, where we make decisions about, what are our recommendations, what will actually work. And yellow analytical thinking also comes in later, where we say, if we combine this idea with this idea, do we actually have something here? But if we're doing that at the same time as we're trying to brainstorm, you will be shutting down idea generation right at the start. And the worst thing for people high in green, if you are genuinely trying to brainstorm, the worst thing you can do is to shut down idea generation with any, body language, just impatience, rushing to make decisions, and it's over. The idea generation will stop. So you just have to suspend all that for a few minutes. So it works best when we can build on each other's creativity, so you can immerse yourself in the uncertainty and the confusion of the moment, and we don't judge or edit our own ideas or those of others. And I would also like to say that in our system, we have a huge number of people in our database, and I have found that the people highest in green, so people whose highest scores are green, are the lowest in our population, in our database. So our database is mostly North American people. So we're not sure exactly why creativity is such a difficult thing for us. But it could be because, it's squashed out of us in school. We don't give time to be creative in most organizations. Something bad happens, we have a problem. We rush very quickly to, let's get some more information and let's make a decision on next steps. It's very rare that people say, let's just sit back, come up with some crazy, wacky ideas. Most people think there's no time for that. We don't have time for, this just random generation of ideas. But you won't get any new approaches unless you do allow time for some green thinking. And if you don't have a lot of people high in green in your organization, you can make it clear in this 10 minutes, whether you're high in green or not, we're just going to try to come up with as much as we possibly can. We're not editing, we're not judging. And that often will free people up to feel they have permission to just say things that may not work. They may not be the best solution, but that's okay. For these few minutes, we're good with that. And it's only when we do that that we will actually be able to come up with some new and better solutions. And at One Smart World, we truly believe that when we're able to do that, we are smarter together. So thank you for your attention today. And if you'd like more information, follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter, or come back to the Academy again for more videos about our thinking strategies. Thank you very much. Bye for now.